we could actually change the narrative of what Howard has been. A lot of people in my high school were going to Howard. I had no knowledge of HBCUs prior to this. So when I came up on the visit, I loved it. Like, just seeing everybody outside, being them, being comfortable being them, seeing Black people just be Black.
Literally.
I realized, like, oh, you could use your NIL and shift it to help impact the community, because that's really what it's all about. Like, that is my main goal, is to leave an impact in this world, leave an impact within my community. The last time that we won a championship at Howard University for the women's side was 2002. That's when I was born. To be able to say that you're a part of a championship team is something that's forever going to be in history books. Like, you forever just left your legacy because you were a part of that.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to Echoes of the Yard. I'm your host, Kendyl Terrell, a soccer player at Jackson State University, and this podcast is all sources HBCU. From the guests to the topics, the good and the bad, we're here to talk about it all. For the 6th episode, I am joined by Destiny Howell, a basketball player at Howard University. Say hello.
Yeah.
We've got a lot to talk about. I'm very interested about your story. I've been reading about it a little bit, and our stories are kind of the same in the sense. So tell me about yourself, where you're from, your upbringing, siblings. Like, tell me a little about yourself.
Born and raised in New York. Always rep New York to the fullest. Grew up with a single mom. I have 2 sisters. Right now, 4 and 10. So little, got the around. Yeah. Went to high school in Queens. Kind of bounced all around between Long Island and Queens. Just living with a single mom. She had to get a few different jobs in different places. So, just moving all around to make ends meet. And, I feel like her putting me in that school in Queens, St. Francis Prep, just kind of changed the trajectory of where my life was going.
Okay.
And that ended up, bringing me to Howard, which that is the next part of my story.
So how and why did you start playing basketball? Like, was it your calling? Did you just get put into it? Like, tell me your story about that.
So my dad actually took me to like one of the little like old man like rec league games, and I just like watching him hoop and kind of got bored. And during halftime, like me and a few other kids like went to go pick up a few balls and just start shooting. And this dude was like, "Yo, like Steve, that's your daughter. Like you should put her in. Like you should put her in like an actual like game or like teams, or just because in New York it's a lot of different opportunities, especially in New York. I'm always say that, to just play basketball, whether it's park, CYO, outdoor league. Like it's always something to do. So he kind of invited me to play with his boys team. And funny story, I actually started playing with boys, and I didn't start playing with girls up until I was 14. Like throughout the whole season. That was a big adjustment for me, because I'm used to.
Yeah, that's crazy, because like I play soccer, so I started off playing with boys. I have a twin brother actually, so that's crazy you say that, because we were literally on the same team for forever. I was always the only girl. Like, it's just, so once it got to that area, was like, oh, sorry, you got to start playing with your gender now. I'm like, okay. Like, it was such a different aspect. It was a turn of events, because like girls are sensitive. Like, girls are very like, hold grudges.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, so it was a very different dynamic. Like, the way I played soccer, it was like aggressive, and like I needed to calm down, and like the passion I had for the sport was me being angry, and I was like, no, like this is just how we play, so it was a very big adjustment for me.
Our story is literally similar. That's actually crazy.
Yeah. And like what's also crazy is my mom is also a single parent. I'm the youngest of 4. My dad died when I was 15, so like she had to raise the 4 of us by herself, and like she had to get multiple jobs. So I definitely understand like your like what you mean about that, like just basically providing and just making a way for all of us. So, and we all played soccer in every sport, so that girl's a soldier, so I definitely get that. So tell me about your high school years. Like, how is that like? How was high school for you?
So I started out in Glen Cove in Long Island, and it was public school league, so it was pretty. I actually started playing varsity in 8th grade. They moved me up, and that was an experience, because I was 13, like trying to
play with these
like with 17, 18-year-olds. And it was it was hard. It was hard at first. Just trying to figure out like where I really fit in as a person, where
Yeah.
I fit in on the team. Trying to just make sure that I'm like not necessarily meeting their standard, but at the same time like meeting their standard.
Yeah.
And eighth grade was a little bit of a challenge. Move on to freshman year, I started to really like find my groove. That's when I started having more people pop out the games and like write articles on me, and I started having like a way better year than I had in eighth grade. Sophomore year was like, okay, yeah, she's good, she's good.
Nah,
Um,
she's one of them ones. Like, nah. Yeah.
I was probably like I think top top 10 like leading scorers in Long Island at the
Wow.
time. And I just wanted, I knew that that wasn't the place for me to flourish in the way that I needed to. Um, Grades were slipping. With public school, they don't really like, they don't care the same, and they don't have to because it is public school. So they give you the freedom to do whatever you want, and I was doing whatever I wanted to
Not too
do.
much on public schools now. I was a public school baby.
Not too much because I a lot of gratitude for my experience, but I knew that me not being the most disciplined person, I needed to go somewhere where they were very much like, no, you need to do this, 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 and that.
Yeah.
And when I went to St. Francis Prep, that kind of helped me pull my grades up because that was another thing to get into school. You need grades.
Yeah.
Pull my grades up. About junior year, I did okay. Playing in a way more competitive league, and that was something that was like a big adjustment. I'm going from, being one of them ones to, oh shoot, y'all all one of them ones. Like,
Humbled fast.
yes, yes. So it was a really challenging experience just with the structure, with the discipline, with me actually commuting to school. That was probably the hardest part. So a lot of people don't know I had to wake up every day at like 5:30 to catch my 6:05 train. Well, no, take the cab to the train and take the train bus stop and then take the bus to school. And that
Wow.
was that day. And it was rough. Like, trying to balance that, trying to balance just being a kid, and especially homework, family life, and all that. I would say my senior year, definitely my hardest year, definitely my most like life changing year. I started off the year finding out that my mom had cancer in October, and that not kinda, definitely shook some things up, just between my mental, just between how I was moving, how I was going to school, a lot of things. And at the same time, my sister was just born. She was about 4 months at the time. My
Wow.
other sister was 4 years old. So me having to kind of take on that mom role while managing everything else I was already doing was really tough. And seeing my mom, who is my superhero, who I've seen make it happen for all of us my whole entire life, not being in a state where she was viewed as strong, actually seeing her weak, actually seeing her defeated, it
Yeah.
kind of it really messed me, but at the same time it made me a lot mentally stronger, and
Yeah.
it made me kind of embody those traits that I've seen her have my whole life, and I think that really pushed me even a little bit more
Yeah.
to
You found your
for it.
why. I think like that just explains you found your why. You found the reason why you step onto that court and give it your all every day. And like it's so crazy. I kind of have chills like you just saying that because my senior year was tough for me too. Like it was the first moment like I just stopped like surrounding myself around fake people and realized like I missed my dad. Like I don't know how to do this without him. And so like that was definitely my turning point in high school. It was just kind of like no, like this was y'all's dream. Like you have something to fight for. Like every time you step on that field, this is your passion. This is your why. You always have to remember your why. And like that was definitely a big turning point for me, especially knowing that I was about to go to college. It was just kind of like you need to get it together or you'll fumble, you'll fall. So like I definitely appreciate that sense of like you understanding like that struggle, you know?
Yeah.
So, okay, so through all that, how's your experience through the like recruiting process? Like, where was your mind at through it? Like, how was it? Did you enjoy it? Did you get the chance to enjoy it? Like, tell me a little bit about that.
So I was actually, I didn't, like I said, I didn't really start playing basketball with females until I was 14. A lot of people, they were already getting recruited at 14, especially
Yeah.
that I was playing with my best friend. Actually, she was probably one of like the top prospects in New York at the time, and
Wow.
just seeing how schools were flocking her way constantly, and I'm just kind of like, damn, like when is that gonna be me? Like when am
Yeah.
I gonna get to experience that? And my sophomore year summer, so like going into my junior year of like AAU, I I started to pick up a few more offers, but they were like mid majors. I think my first offer was University of Hartford,
Okay.
and I just I knew that I was liking how I was feeling just with people wanting me to go to their schools and telling me this and telling me that, but I knew that those weren't schools that I necessarily wanted to go to.
Yeah.
So moving into junior year, I started getting a lot more like high major interest. Let me not say offers, interest. Um, it kind of messed with me because as that was happening, or as those people were going to see my best friend or going to see the post player that we had that was 6'5", like
Yeah.
I'm getting opportunity to showcase myself as well. So I try to make sure that I was taking full advantage of those opportunities,
Yeah.
and it was going well. Like I actually had like some of those schools like A&M and like Florida like looking at me and was like, okay, yeah, bro, you finally there.
Yeah.
But I put on a little bit of weight. My position changed from like shooting guard to like stretch forward, and
Really.
that hindered my recruitment. A lot of those people started pulling back and pulling
Mhm.
back and pulling back. And then going into my junior year of AU, which this is my make it or break it. Junior year AU is like,
You
this
get
is,
it done or you done.
yeah, literally. So I didn't really do that well. And I
Really.
just, it was hard to try and figure out like, what am I? Like, am I a guard now? Am I a forward? Am
Yeah.
I like, that was a really confusing time for me because I've been a guard my whole life. Well, really, let me not say that. I've kind of bounced around with every position because I've always been tall, but like being a guard feels natural for me,
Yeah.
and now something that wasn't as natural at a weight that wasn't natural for me as
Yeah.
well. So Howard actually went to my last game of the AU season, and I tapped my coach. It's actually like a crazy story how it all happened, like how I got here. I tapped my coach, and I was like, "Yo, like if your man offers me, like I'll go," because they were cool at the time. My AU coach and my current assistant coach, and he was like, "I'll tell them come to the game." He was like, "Make sure make sure you do what you got to do."
Right.
So I was playing my heart out that game because I knew, like, man, I had to go somewhere. I wasn't gonna settle for a school that I didn't really want to go to. Howard was a school that I even knew about because a lot of people in my high school were going to Howard, and it kind of made me like think like, okay, well maybe that's a school I might want to go to. I had no knowledge of HBCUs prior to this, none
Really.
at all. That HBCU was a school for Black students. That's
Yeah.
that's the thing that I knew, and I knew that Howard was, kind of on the top of that list. Not trying to, pop Howard's collar, but yeah. So a week later, I get a phone call, and it's my assistant coach BD, and he's like, I came to your last game, like I like your game, I want to offer you, and I was like, when are we going on the visit? Immediately, it was when,
Wrap it up.
yeah,
Send me
yeah.
there.
And I just really liked their approach. I liked how my head coach, she's from New York and she grew up not too far away from me. A lot of people knew her out there. She's just somebody that I knew I could stay with for 4 years. Somebody that's similar to my mom. Somebody that, because when you leave, like your coach is damn near your mom, or
No. Or you're
is a
you're like a father figure. Yeah.
yeah. So I wanted to make sure that the coach relationship was going
It
to be
felt like
something that
home. Yeah.
exactly, because me and my coaches have always had a close relationship. So when I came up on the visit, I loved it. Like walking on the yard, seeing everybody outside, being them, being comfortable, being them, seeing Black people just be Black. Like
Literally. Like embrace it.
I've never seen that before, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna commit on the visit. Like I had this feeling, and me and my mom are big off the vibes and the first like gut feelings that we get. And she was like, I think this is a place for you. And you know, I wouldn't say that if I didn't really feel like that. And I was like, let's do it.
Wow.
And
Oh, that gave me
I,
chills. That's so crazy because like when I saw that I was talking to somebody from Howard. That's so crazy because I was literally thinking about like going to play soccer at Howard, like in the MEAC, like experiencing it. So it was very crazy to me that I like finally get to talk to someone that has experienced Howard, because Howard would be such a culture shock for me. I'm literally from Mississippi, Buku, Mississippi, all the way down south. Like it's just I'm
boom, boom, down.
countrified. I'm countrified to the core. Trust. So like I think Howard would have just been like a really big experience, like a change for me, and like I definitely considered it. But speaking of Howard, I was looking at your stats, girl. Like we kind of on the same page. When I saw Player of the Year, Co-Player of the Year, All Tournament Team, leading in your conference. Girl, tell me about it. Tell me about it, because you talked about how you wanted to leave Howard as the best player to ever be there. And we got the same mindset because before I came to Jackson State, they haven't won a SWAC championship in 13 years. First year I got there, I was leading in all stats, all tournament team, leading in everything, and we won that thing. We won it both. So, like, I know what it feels like. I'm going back for my 5th year because what'd you say?
I said, love that.
Yeah, it's just me. Like, once I stepped on Jackson State's campus, it was for me. Like, I felt the feeling. Like, I was with my brother, and he was like, nah, like, yeah, my brother, just like your mom, my brother doesn't just be like, you should go here, you should go here. He's very protective. He's the man of the house now because I have 2 sisters, and then my brother. So it was just kind of like, nah, like, he wanted me to go somewhere that I finally felt like I was me. I was allowed to be unapologetic. That word, me. But okay, so tell me about your Howard experience. Like, you think you're on track to, be the best at Howard?
Right now, yeah, I think I'm on track. Came in my freshman year, was put in a position to where I was starting, which was really cool. Started as a freshman. Um, wasn't really doing the best. Got suspended for being late one day.
Oh Lord,
And
time management.
yeah, no, seriously. Though, I got suspended for being late one day, then got taken out the starting lineup, and then was trying to work my way back. And I actually think I needed that to humble me and really like have me appreciate the opportunity. Like, nah, like freshmen don't get to start like that. Like you in a very different position than a lot of these other people out here. And I kind of worked my way back up to playing and got a few rookies of the week that year, and moving into my sophomore year, so when I first got here, we had the current player of the year, and I had the opportunity to kind of sit back, watch, see how I was gonna not necessarily imitate that, but do it in my way and try and do it better.
Yeah.
So my sophomore year was like, okay, she's gone, like you got the keys, you know what I'm saying? And that was my breakout year where I just started randomly like this. I think it was like December 1st. First game like had 18. I was like, okay, next game we played after that, 20 in the game winner. Next game after that, like 23, and it was rolling after that.
Yeah.
Everything was. I haven't went back down to I just haven't went back down since then. And we actually won the championship that year, and that was like, oh yeah, we're gonna do something that is so different here. And I actually think the last time that we won a championship at Howard University for the women's side was 2002. That's when I was born.
Wow. Okay, O2 baby. I'm an O2 baby as well. So we love O2 babies. But like, no, so you said you won the championship, and I know my experience winning a championship, but like, what was it like for you? Like tell me about it, because it was surreal for me. When you realized like, no, you won that game, like what were you thinking? Where was your headspace at? Like,
I knew that. Well, we lost my freshman year in the championship to a buzzer beater. So
whoa,
that yeah, now that was
sick. I would have been sick.
even still talking about it is like, oh, what the like, ow. And I knew that I never wanted to feel that feeling again. And I made sure that I wasn't gonna feel that feeling that next year around. So when that it's actually funny because we were up a little bit in the game, probably like 14 with like 4 minutes left, and that's usually like not really enough time to come back, but I still don't want to like get too excited because I was too
Yeah.
excited. Like, you know, just like that, it changed.
Yes, it
But
does. Literally.
finally, when the buzzer went off and the confetti dropped, it was just like, yo, like
You did
you,
it.
yeah, you did it, and you dreamed of winning a championship on every level. Like I won one in high school, I won one in college, and now I want to win one in WNBA. And it's like, you know, to be able to say that you're a part of a championship team is something that's forever going to be in history books. Like you forever just left your legacy because you were a part of that, and to be able to, you know, tournament MVP of that specific season was like, yeah, bro, like you really did that. So
Yeah.
it was a crazy feeling because we haven't been the best at Howard, like with basketball, with sports. Sorry, sports. Period. Howard athletics has just been starting to roll with literally like every sport,
Yeah.
and basketball was really on the come up, and I was like, I'm a part of that come up. You know what I'm saying? I'm a part of that change. And
Yeah.
okay, now the expectation is for us to win championships. The expectation is for us to do good. You feel what I'm
Yes.
saying?
And that's crazy because like that like our stories are so similar because at Jackson, like being a part of that come up, like people didn't even know we had a soccer team. Now people come to our games. Yes, and people ask about our games. They didn't even know like where our field was. Now like we'll have all athletics showing up, like crowds, and it's just paving that way, like being heard, winning, like the first year I was there, we won it all. The second year, we made the championship game. We lost, and you know that was a heart stopper. But we have another chance to go back, and I genuinely believe we'll win it again because it's like, come on now, like I can't do anything else. Last year, fifth year, it's like you got to get it done, and like just being a part of that journey. So,
Yeah.
how would you rate your overall experience at Howard as a student? 1 through 10, give it to me. Like, how would you rate it?
This side, I gotta give it like a 6.5.
Okay, explain why. Let me hear a little.
Came during COVID baby, so that
Me
sucked.
too. Oh my gosh, me too.
Everything online, so it's like,
The transition was like,
like what are we doing? Like I came here to like mix and you feel me, like experience Howard, and
yeah,
they were just, yeah, nah, we're gonna be,
arms
you're just
length.
gonna basketball here. So freshman year was like, sophomore year I was kind of like hybrid, so I was still like damn near online, and then they just kind of kept that hybrid. They just kind of kept us in those hybrid classes. So I never actually really got to experience being a student at Howard, which is crazy to say because like I just graduated. I've never
I
been
graduated
inside
too.
this library. You graduated this year?
Yeah, May.
Okay, degree us. Stop
You
playing.
know. Wait, what's your major? What did you major in?
Sports management. I minored in psych.
I got my bachelor's in psychology and getting my master's in sports management.
Yo, what?
Relax.
That is actually a little bit too similar. Though. I'm a
No,
little
it's
bit.
scary. Yeah, if you have the same birthday month as me, I might run.
All right. Say it on three. 1, 2, 3. August.
August.
Oh my gosh.
You're lying. You're
God.
This is too much.
Are you serious?
I'm so serious. August 20th.
August 15th.
Oh my gosh, that's scary.
Not scary. That's. I wasn't expecting you to say August though. That's
Me neither.
You're so big, Leo. Okay.
Yes. That was actually so crazy. But okay,
No,
so how would you rate your experience as an athlete at Howard? Like, what would you give it? Like, I'm already knowing it's got to be high because like, I can just feel how you talk about it. So, like, what would you rate it?
I'm gonna have to go 9, and I can't say 10 because we're still at the HBCU, and I already know you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Man,
So
don't get me started.
yeah, we could really get into that, but I just feel like, you know, between seeing athletics really like come up, seeing people like I'm walking on the yard, like you know, people know me for playing basketball.
Yeah.
kind of have that like extra little like ego boost from being an athlete. So
Oh, for sure. And it
that
also helps that I have like 19 tattoos. So like that helps as well. Like, oh, you're the girl that plays soccer. Yeah, like I'm 6'2" as a soccer player, so I get it. Everybody knows who I am. Yeah, I am 6'2". I'm huge.
I know I obviously I can't tell sitting down, but like when I think soccer, I think like 5'6", 5'7".
Yeah, short on the shorter side. I always get basketball or volleyball. That's definitely a
What's
stereotype people put on me. What'd you say?
what's your position?
Center forward. I do all the scoring. I just got offensive player of the year, so
Mm-hmm. Okay.
look
Okay.
good, look good.
I like that because I be scoring too.
Okay,
I be
yeah, I see. 16.8 points per game. I see, average. I see.
yeah. I got. I'm gonna tune in. I'm gonna tune in with y'all
No, you
game.
gotta see. I promise. Like, I'll show you a good time for sure. I'm a big presence now. You know me. So do you
Say no
think
more.
playing at a HBCU has like enjoying your sport has it made it easier or harder for you?
Um, I think both, and I say both because we were never put in a position to be viewed as how other athletes that go to these Power Fives are viewed as.
Yeah,
So already we're at a disadvantage because nobody's checking for us, nobody really cares, or if they do see it, it's like, oh yeah, but they go here, so it doesn't really matter,
right.
or competition's not as good, or yeah, they're good, but it's always like something extra where we're never credited, we're never appreciated, we're never empowered or looked at as
Yeah.
like, oh, she's legit, she's official, she could hoop, she could, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's
So,
always they play easier teams. Like, oh my gosh, I cannot stand that. Literally.
but numbers are numbers and numbers don't lie.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's probably the hardest thing. Easy part about it is that I'm at Howard. Like, and a lot of people don't understand when you go to HBCU, there's so many things that you're exposed to that other people like they don't have the opportunity. And I'm sorry they don't have the opportunity because it's such a great experience here. Like,
Yes.
I know the main thing people always talk about is like the culture. Yes, like yes, 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 and yes. Like if you want
That's
to
why
experience, come to a HBCU.
that's why I literally called this podcast Echoes of the Yard, because every HBCU has a yard and there's a voice on every yard you go to, and like it's just things you always have to remember. So it's like it's echoing through every single HBCU, and like it just inspires me to continue to hear everybody's story, continue to allow people to realize like no, it's not just me preaching about how good an HBCU is. It's like getting from different
Yeah.
perspectives, different HBCUs all the time. So do you think like attending an HBCU has like given you the support to be a stronger athlete? Because I know you tore your ACL last year, and I also was out for 9 months because of my knee. So, like, how has that impacted your game?
I'm still like recovering right now, but definitely when I first tore my ACL, like I was ready to crash out. I was ready to crash out. To put it like that. I mean, I went from arguably like the best season of my life, made some WNBA draft boards, gone. Everything gone like that. And it's like it was just kind of like no way. Like no way you went from being in the position that you are right now to thinking that, oh yeah, you up out of here next year,
Yeah.
to being where I am right now. It was a very like humbling experience, and I think that there were a lot of people here that really really supported me, and I didn't know, until I got hurt, like, oh shoot, I had people watching me that I didn't even know about, or teachers like reaching out, just like actually feeling the community aspect of it. And that's one thing that I feel like doesn't really get talked about enough at HBCUs as well, is the community that surrounds you. Like, one thing that I will say is weird is that, like, I don't know if this is your school as well, but I feel like, especially at Howard, people aren't really coming to games like that. Like when you go to these like white schools, it's like, oh, the game is the move for the night. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like everybody has to go. That's not really the case at Howard. So a lot of,
Really?
yeah, I feel like a lot of the students kind of be like doing their own thing, and like that's cool. But at the same time, like we have a lot of great people and great players throughout athletics that like need to be talked about or need to be watched. So just
Yeah.
even knowing that a lot of the students were like reaching out to me or reaching out to my coaches or like just asking like how I'm doing, if I'm gonna be okay. Like I felt an overwhelming amount of support and love when I tore my ACL, and I always like appreciate like our community for that because I didn't. I like I said, I was ready to crash out, and I that
I
that
feel that.
kind of had me like take a second and be like everything happens for a reason, and you have a lot of people that are around you that you don't have to just take it by yourself. You have
Yeah.
people here to help you or help you navigate through this because this is new for me. So
So how did you engage with like your community while you were out of commission? Like high school panels, sneaker drive, food drives, etc. Like tell me about that.
yeah, so I actually, like I said, the community aspect was something that I wasn't really too caught up on until I tore my ACL. Like I just
Mm,
felt like have the same appreciation for it until I had to really take a step back from basketball. Like removing
yeah.
basketball from my had me open up my eyes and my mind to a lot of different things that were around me that I just didn't pay attention to before. And community was one of them. And as I, kept trying to do NIL stuff and just keep myself like involved with basketball, but obviously not on the court, I realized like, oh, you could use your NIL and shift it to help the community, to help impact the community because that's really what it's all about. Like that is my main goal is to leave an impact in this world, leave an impact within my community. And right now my community was helping me, and I need to figure out how to help them back. So did the sneaker drive with the Boys and Girls Club, and we got hella sneakers on it, like
Really?
probably like 50 plus in like a week.
Wow.
Howard sneakers. Either they got some like exclusive Howard stuff in there. I wanted to make sure like they felt good about the stuff that they got too. And just seeing like some of them, like some of their reactions, it's kind of like really wholesome. Like you're able to like make a kid smile. Like you're able to make
Yeah.
some
You like feel
just off
giddy inside.
just off of something so minor. And like the high school panel, it was actually a really cool experience. I didn't really know how it was gonna go. I've never done a panel before like that, and just kind of talk to them about advice to switching from high school to college, advice on NIL, advice on life, basketball, how you could be better, how to change your mindset, how to be mentally tough, how to deal with adversity, telling my story with all the adversity I've dealt with in my life. And it was actually like very intimate, very interactive, and something I'm definitely gonna try and like do more often. But especially moving into next year, I'll be doing a lot more stuff with DC, with HBCU community, and with just even like the high school community.
I love that. So you've mentioned wanting to change the narrative of HBCUs. So like what are some misconceptions or ideas about HBCUs that you want to see corrected?
Mm. That we're not that good, like
Please,
that.
please.
Yeah, that's the main one. Like I do understand that there is a competition gap. I will acknowledge that. I'm not blind. But at the same time, we have a lot of good players on this level
Yes.
that can play with y'all, but choose not to. And that is something that, I want people to know, like, nah, like if I wanted to go, to one of them schools, like, nah, I could do that. I
But it's
don't want to
bigger. It's bigger than that. Like it's so much bigger. That's the
exactly.
same that's the same way like when I tell people like coming from where I'm from, like I have a sister, she went to Troy University, she graduated from there, and it was just like I've all my life I wanted to make a change. Like so when you're talking about like you did the sneaker drive and the food drive and the panel, it's just like that speaks to me because I am HBCU through and through because I feel as though it's like we've always been here, and as black women in predominantly white sports, we deserve to be labeled as soccer players and not just athletic women. And like I want to be that advocate. I'm literally going into sports management in my major so I can be a sports psychologist to help girls like me. Like you're not alone. You have people to speak for you. You have people that have experienced what you're experiencing. So like I genuinely like I love that, like changing the narrative of HBCUs. But mine would be like, you don't have to be black or a minority to come to a HBCU. You just have to be open to understanding our culture. Like, I think a lot of misconceptions is that you have to be black to go to a HBCU. You can't be the whitest of white. I was like, that's not true. Like, you can come, just be
You can't
like open.
stop.
Exactly, just be open to be like, whoa, like I've never seen this before, but I'm willing to understand. I think that's one of the misconceptions to me as well. Like, one, thinking that we're not good and we just beat you like next, because they think it's going to be an easy dub on their schedule, and they catch an L, and I'm just like, surprise, you know. So like, I definitely get that. But what advice do you have for student athletes deciding whether to attend an HBCU or not?
Was go for it. Like you're gonna get an experience that not a lot of people aren't fortunate enough to get, and it's something that you're not you're not just gonna wake up one day and be like, oh, like, I'm at this predominantly white school, and there's so many people around me that look like me, that appreciate me, that, you know what I'm saying? Like, I wake up every day and I'm proud to be black, and
Yeah.
I'm proud of black school, and I know how it feels to not be at a black school because I've experienced that as well when I was in middle school, and I experienced the racism of being around a lot of white people and having them look at you sideways. And it doesn't matter where you are, it doesn't matter where you is gonna happen inevitably because not a lot of people are open minded enough to really understand and appreciate your presence and who you are, and you shouldn't
Yeah.
be have to hold back or be any different because of somebody else. So just wanting to go somewhere where you're fully accepted and you're not looked at any different or frowned upon or kind of like,
Yeah. I rather people not like me because of my personality instead of my skin color. Just because we don't mesh, cool, like it is what it is, but don't like me just because I'm black. I think just I know
that.
you said you dealt with it in middle school, but I actually went JUCO out of high school, and it was just like I was looking around, I was like, dang, there's only two, three of us out of 30 girls, and it was just kinda like I was labeled as that aggressor. I had to be put on counseling my sophomore year. Obviously we were a COVID baby, so we had a spring season and a fall season. So it was like back to back seasons. And I
Yeah.
literally had to go up in the middle of my summer, and they said, you either sign this contract saying you're going to go to counseling 2 to 3 times a week, or you cannot be on our team. And mind you, I was a 2-time double All-American after my freshman year. Like, I was the leading goal scorer, leading assist, like everything. And they said I couldn't be on that team unless I went to counseling because I was an angry black woman. Just because my passion and my love for the game was taken as like anger, just because they would always throw in my face that my dad died and I'm not done grieving. But you can't tell anybody how to grieve. Like, my love for the game, it doesn't mesh with my grief. It's just, so that was a very hard experience for me. So coming to my HBCU was just like I could breathe. I was like, wow, like, girl, you me? You black? I was like, it was just such a shock. Like, I didn't see no white girls. I was like, what? I was like, this is so new for me.
A lot of people, this has to do more with Howard than me, but I do want to put this out there. A lot of people view HBCUs and view Howard like as schools that you're going to go to primarily for academics. Howard is a huge, huge academic school, but at the same time, our athletics are evolving yearly to where we've been killing it in volleyball, we've been killing it in soccer, we've been killing it in men's basketball, women's basketball, golf, swimming, tennis. Like I could keep going, and I feel like a lot of those other sports they don't get the same love, and it's just kind of like we have to be put on the back burner because academics is something that is is like major at Howard. And we could be both. We could be a powerhouse in both. And I feel like once people really start taking that into account, like, okay, we could actually change the scene. We could actually change the narrative of what Howard has been. And instead of being this illustrious academic school,
Yeah.
we can make it both, and we could just flourish in every area possible because that's something that we've had to build up ourselves. I literally seen it. I've seen it since I've been here my freshman year. Like, between the facilities, between the money that we get, the gear, the Jordan deal, like those are things that us as athletes have been working day in and day out to get for Howard.
Yeah.
And people really start to see like, okay, yeah, HBCU athletics is really starting to change. I just feel like everything is gonna come full circle for me. And I'm gonna be like, yeah, this is what I've been wanting, because that's the same thing with women's basketball. Like the women's basketball scene, a lot of people are watching women's basketball.
The ratings are crazy. They're literally crazy. Like women's basketball is being watched more than the NBA right now. Like it's literally insane.
And I want that. I want that experience, and I want that same love for HBCU athletics. Not even just basketball, but HBCU athletics. And that was my main point that I wanted to say.
I love that. So our last question is presented by our sponsors, Cricket Wireless. So shout out to Cricket, a proud supporter of HBCU culture and community. How has going to an HBCU influenced the person you are today?
So mental toughness is something that I feel like as an athlete you have to have. But going to a HBCU as an athlete, you know, you know, but it kind of makes you way stronger than you expect. And it's a switch that just happens one day. Like, okay, I gotta get up in the morning, gotta go, walk up the hill, come in the locker room, AC don't work, it's hot, it's hot. Get out there to
No locker room at all
wow.
for us, but no bathrooms, no locker room. Like we had to go through a whole water crisis. We had no water. Going to practice like drenched in sweat and not being able to take a shower was definitely an experience for me. So yes, the mental toughness is on a different level.
Nah, your story definitely just clear mine. So I'm gonna go off the mental toughness. I'm gonna just me feeling more inspired and motivated to do stuff for people. I don't want to say I was a selfish person before, but going to HBCU kind of just shifts your perspective on you being the next generation of Black excellence and being around that. So you feel more inspired and more like motivated to do more with these people that are the next, entrepreneurs and lawyers and doctors and dentists. And just being able to be surrounded by that is just a feeling of empowerment that I didn't have before I came to HBCU. Like I feel like I walk with a different glow. Like
yeah, like the shoulders back, like embracing it. Like you could just see my HBCU on my head. That's how
I'm
I
a
feel.
rep
Like
to the fullest, by the way.
okay, I'm lucky. I can't rep mine right now because of the like guidelines and stuff. But yes, I'm always repping number 9, always on my neck. That's what I wear. That's what I represent always. So yes, I really enjoyed this conversation. We have way too many things in common. It's actually kind of scary. But thank you so much for joining me. Listeners, thanks for tuning in. We got tons more great guests, and we'll continue talking about HBCUs from all angles. So make sure you rate, review, and subscribe so you don't miss out on more episodes.